We're sitting with Bapak Sandi Uno, who is the spokesman for Prabowo, one of the top two presidential contenders, the only two presidential contenders in these very key elections. Pak Sandi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Selamat pagi.
Selamat pagi. Why Prabowo?
Well, for me, it's very simple. I know him for a long time. About a decade ago, I was consulting one of the business opportunities that he was in. At that time, he just got back from overseas, setting up a new life as a businessman. And he struck to be a very straightforward, very kind of born again businessman. So we had a very good interactions, and I sense that he's very straightforward. He's keen to become. His father is an economist, so it's natural to him in the business setting. And then after a few consulting tasks, we did not meet for a long time. We met again in 2012, and that's really because of Joko. We both believed that he would really be carrying on this such a phenomena transformations of Jakarta. So we worked on the campaign and basically succeeded in getting Joko 5 years job here as a governor, and we were really looking forward. And at that time, he said that he's really looking forward for an Indonesia that would be driven by this young minds and really progressive. And he has stated since 2009 loss to SBY that he would be contesting the president. So it's something that he has worked for a long time.
Yes.
So since 2012, he asked me as a personal advisors to put inputs in terms of where young entrepreneurs can play a role, where the young generations of Indonesia can fit within his platform of people's economy, ekonomi kerakyatan, and where he thinks, independence on energy, independence on food, as well as basically the platform of building infrastructure. So I have been, quite on a very high intensity discussing with him. So when he asked me to join his team as spokesman, it became very natural. I think that he has a good platform to bring Indonesia forward. So I guess it's I've been very fortunate for the last 1 month to be serving as his spokesman.
Well, it's ironic. So he worked on Jokowi's campaign and now is running against Jokowi.
Well, it's the other way around. Yeah. Because if it's you rewind to 2012, and that's what differentiates Prabowo from other politicians. He's not your typical politicians whereby things can change and things are in a flux. He's pretty much quite probably from his military background. He thinks people honor their commitment. And early in the discussions in 2013, I reminded Prabowo that you may face Jokowi in the race because I think people are framing him, and the media are playing, and he's now a media darling. But he's already thinking, and he said that no, I trusted Jokowi. He'll finish his job. He's what Indonesia needs. He's now what Jakarta needs, and he would be good for Jakarta now and good for Indonesia later. So this is the commitment and the consistency that I see in Pak Prabowo.
Pak Prabowo has had a great momentum build up in the last month. He's cut down the lead of Jokowi from 30% and it's a near dead heat right now. Nobody seems to know which way to go. What is his appeal to Indonesian voters at this point in time?
I think the Indonesian voters now starting to realize that his message is very simple message of bringing up the country to provide food independence, to be also fulfilling our energy needs. Our electrification ratio is around 70%. We were at Ciparai yesterday in West Java. He talked to the farmers, where farmers are facing basically very difficult conditions whereby their land is being taken away. They could not be self-sustainable in terms of bad harvest. So this simple message really cut across, and I think the momentum is with him now. We see a very strong trend of people are liking his messages of a strong Indonesia, very decisive, firm, and going to be a leader that could really lead and govern. It's not a president that really now have to handle different type of the politics, but he represented somebody that is strong, firm, and decisive, and this is what Indonesia needs 5 years from now.
Why is there such a yearning for this in Indonesia, this tegas? Why is that appeal to Indonesians so much now?
Well, Indonesia has so much potential. You know, we're the largest country in ASEAN, and we have tremendous potentials in the human capital as well as the natural resources. But we have not reaped the potential of this because there are some plans being stifled by politics, by bureaucracy, by land issues, for instance, and SBY has done a tremendous job in the last 10 years. But there is some unfinished businesses like bureaucracy reform, and you need a strong leader to basically not only being innovative in the approach, but also firm in representing to the country that this is what I want and I want to see it through. Somebody that is basically representing what Prabowo is now saying, that you need a firm, decisive, and a strong leader.
Prabowo, though, has a past that haunts him. I mean, for the international community, this is a reincarnation that is...
For you especially.
For me...
97, 98.
Yes, I mean, you see a man who was part of Suharto's New Order, in many instances the rising star of that, the head of the elite Kopassus, and then in many ways he was disgraced. He fell from grace so fast. He ran for president in 2004, vice president in 2009, didn't make it in both those. I mean, who is Prabowo now?
Well, I think he's and this is another fact of Indonesia. Indonesia love comeback story, and we love this very big struggle. You saw Megawati's how she was fell out of power and then come back and strong, and then fell out of power back again, and her party is now a winner also. Indonesia loved this type of story, and Prabowo in 97, 98 basically went through a huge turmoil. Those have been answered in the 2004, 2009, and 2014. Those questions remain the same, but he came back, become a businessman, pick up the right investments, build his business, and venture into politics, took an establishment of a party from scratch, made it number 3 in 2014. That's a remarkable story, and this is, I guess, what democracy in Indonesia has created, those type of possibility and opportunities.
It is amazing watching this process right now. It is a truly democracy.
Sure.
If you look at it, again, if you go back with history, this is either one you could say it's the last, it could be the last gasp of the new order, or a complete reincarnation or reinvention. I mean, is that a correct framing?
I think it's a misconception. People would say it's a new order or last gasp. I think it's a new Indonesia, whereby we think that he's a reformed man. He would not be contesting 3 general elections, spending tremendous amount of resources, times, and commitments to Indonesia's democracy if he doesn't believe in the new Indonesia. He wouldn't come back to the new order because that recipe failed big time. And he's seeing what he's seeing, that he sees 2 types of Indonesia. Indonesia that is ready for the ASEAN economic community and the 21st century. This is Indonesia's of the middle class, upper, big businesses here. They are ready to compete any day of the month. But he's seeing other type of Indonesia that he's seeing, not too far away from Jakarta, whereby they need to be helped with people's economy, small micro entrepreneurs, how we can work with them, the farmers, the fishermen. And this is a type that he thinks is a new Indonesia. We need to cater to both sides of sort of like the spectrum of the Indonesia's development.
Interesting. When you look at Prabowo, the man, the type of leader he will be, is he democratic or is he authoritarian? Where does his past certainly...
I would say firmly he's democratic, and he has stated a few times, and I think one of your colleagues was in Ciparai, said one vote, one man, satu orang, satu vote. And that is what he's carrying. A lot of media reports saying that he may be distancing from that concept. I think he's firmly in that concept, and he kept on saying that either you're a general or you're a farmer, you have one vote. So that concept is deeply in him. Secondly, is he's if he wants to be an authoritarian, he has so many chances in the past, but I think he's completely reformed man, and he believes in it. That democracy is foundations of Indonesia, and I think this is where his message is getting across. People believe in him that democracy must be pretty much equipped with a strong government, because if democracy is not equipped with a strong government, you will have chaos.
What about human rights violations? I mean, this is something that's dogged him, and it dogged him in this campaign, the fact that...
It did not dog him in 2009.
It didn't. It didn't.
So you see that where politics, and this is new Indonesia,
I see.
he has to face the reality, and I think he's ready. He has answers that. First debate, he was getting an attack from the other side. He addressed it well, and he said that, I was basically, terminated my service with honor, and he still received pension from the government, and he got to keep all his honor medal. So I guess this is politics in one thing, and reality is another. He's committed in terms of upholding the human rights, and I think he's a very, very staunch believer that the rule of law have to be upheld.
What about foreign investors? They will play a large role in Indonesia now, and when the momentum began for Prabowo's rise in terms of voter perception, it spooked foreign investors. How did you react to that?
Well, I think foreign investors are just like any other investors, like Indonesian investors as well. They think they would basically, they were seeing a 20% lead of the other side, and they're comfortable. They like certainties. I guess they are spooked now because they did not see this resurgence of dwindling lead, and now some surveys said that we have crossed, and some said that it's neck and neck. I guess once the election is over, once Prabowo deliver on his promise, and once his 100 days plan and his cabinet shows what he really promised, that he will appoint technocrats, good professional, the best people, and he would reach out to the other side for their best talents to join the government. I think the confidence will come back, and investors will not be able to ignore Indonesia. This is such a great investment destinations. We're anchoring ASEAN's 2015 economic community. You've got to be in Indonesia to invest, because this is where the market is, this is where the potential would be.
So what kind of leader, if Prabowo wins, what kind of leader will he be for Indonesia in a global world? In ASEAN, let's start with ASEAN.
I think he's going to be active. He's going to be, our political platform has been active and independent. He would be taking an active role. I think in the third debate it came out, and he said that this is what's really interesting, that 1,000 friends are not enough and one enemy is already too many. And he said that we would be active, we would seek our friends, our neighbors, in terms of how Indonesia can be pretty much contribute to ASEAN and contribute also to the world, because the world and ASEAN needs a strong Indonesia. China needs a strong Indonesia. China needs a partner India needs a strong Indonesia. India needs a partner, and we've been great trading partners. And if we can be a great diplomatic partners, it could create stability in the whole of ASEAN and the whole of other regions as well. And this is the type of leadership that I think the world is going to benefit if Prabowo is elected on the 9th of July.
So you see Indonesia taking a larger role in the global stage?
Definitely, definitely. And I think, you know, he's a cosmopolitan. He lives abroad. He comes from a family that embrace very active international role. Though, you know, during election time it sounds very nationalistic, but I think he's very broad-based. He's progressive. He speaks the languages, and he has the DNA to be an active international player.
It's a changed world. I mean, there are lots of threats, both
Sure.
internally and internationally. And if you look at this, what are the main threats that?
I think what Prabowo sees is first is Indonesia. You need to have a prosperous Indonesia, whereby Indonesia can feed her people and can be independent in terms of their energy needs, build their infrastructures and so on and so forth. Make sure that the Gini ratio doesn't even widen to an unprecedented level. He needs to reach out to the bottom of the pyramid. So once that is established, and then he would basically can cater on how Indonesia is going to play a role in the regional as well as in international settings. So we're excited. We hope he can get a mandate on the 9th of July.
How realistic is this ASEAN economic community, and what role?
Well, it is a deal that was signed, you know, now almost 2001. And it's basically, we cannot go back on that. That's reality, and I think people are we ready? Well, some courts would say that we're not ready, but some said that we're ready. So I guess the Prabowo government will be firm in saying that, okay, ready or not, it's right there in front of our door, and we gotta embrace it. And we gotta basically see this as an opportunity for us. And we gotta really be strong so that our market, not only the attractions of our friendly neighbors, but also our strength in terms of accessing other opportunities in other parts of ASEAN.
The last part in terms of geopolitics is the U.S. is actually pulling back a little bit. You've got ASEAN coming together. You've got a very aggressive China in many instances. How does the Prabowo camp, if it wins, how do you see the Asia, the world shaping up?
Yeah, I think it changes a lot. There was discussions in the South China Sea on the third debate, and I think it's very clear that Prabowo sees Indonesia's, because of 240 million, the third largest democracy, the country with the largest Muslim populations. We do have a responsibility, and we need to, once we're strong internally, we need to step up. And we cannot see, on the other side, what they're saying is a very opportunistic way of dealing with the international situation. We need to be strategically be present in the areas that we see that may pose some instability to the region and to the basically the ASEAN base. And if you see China. And China is not only aggressive on trading, investments, but they are also expanding their power, their scope. This would need to be, understood very well. Indonesia needs to learn about Asia. China needs to learn about the new Indonesia, and we're neighbors. We can select our friends, but we cannot choose our neighbors. We are neighbors by default. We're neighbors, so we need to be good so that we have stability, and the people would benefit if we have stability, because economy will be rising, trade and investments will flow.
It's so interesting watching the momentum build up in the Prabowo campaign again, because it seems to reflect a yearning for strength and stability. In India elected Modi, something that you wouldn't have thought possible 2 decades ago, and now it seems like this is happening here. Do you agree with this? What Is this a zeitgeist? I mean, how
No, I think we downplay the strengths and stability a lot. But we're here, and people have to give credits to SBY. Why Indonesia is growing and basically now very flourishing in terms of the economic development.
But he's also been criticized a lot.
But he's been criticized. But what he brings is stability. Stability for the last 10 years was basically very, very evident. And he basically laid down the foundations for clean government, for progress in Indonesia, and he's able to pretty much make sure that the stability is present. So Indonesians 2 months ago did not realize that strength and stability is a big key, and now they're realizing, and we're seeing across Java, across Sumatra, other parts of Indonesia, that the yearning for a very strong leader that symbolize Indonesia's potentials and hopefully would bring Indonesia to greatness.
Last few days before elections, your thoughts? What needs to happen?
We need to continue the momentum. We cannot be complacent. Some numbers suggested that we're now already having the lead. I think numbers is numbers, but we need to keep on working hard, delivering the messages to the people, making sure that they come on the 9th of July and vote. And this is what Indonesia is going to have to choose on the 9th of July, and we believe that Indonesia will choose strength and stability.
If the margin is so small, what are the possibilities of unrest?
I think our democracy is maturing. If our elites are mature enough, I think there won't be any unrest.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria.
Very good speaking with you. We've been speaking with Prabowo spokesman, Bapak Sandiaga Uno. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned. We'll be bringing you more about the Indonesian elections.